Hey everybody. Today I broke a cycle of the spirit of heaviness. So maybe I did a little bit too much of workouts. Maybe I had some low-key virus that I did not even realize. Or sometimes we somehow compromise when we have a lot of appointments and things to do. We might cut out the things that are most important for us. In my case, running and workouts. And when I cut out the running and the workout, I will not be as tired and feel not as accomplished. When I want to sleep, then I don't sleep as good and I sleep longer and I have no time to do the workout and the running. And this creates a cycle that I don't want to be in. So today I think I broke the cycle again. Sometimes these things just happen. We get out of a good habit and we need to get back in. I also observe many things. It feels a little bit strange and almost weird for me to make YouTube videos at the moment. I hope this is because my authentic self is there and does not need the validation of making videos. I also observe healthy people, and it looks to me, it seems to me, I have a new theory that narcissism, so healthy narcissism, is the way healthy people are. And I don't think that, what we call empath is, they are not abusive. An empath, that what I call an empath is not abusive, but it is probably a person that is wounded. Maybe an intuitive introvert, maybe not, but it's a person that is wounded, maybe even from childhood, and is scanning the environment, is kind of introverted but also extroverted. I keep saying an empath has extroverted empathy, meaning they scan for threats, and they are not so, I don't know, there is some holding back. Anyway, and this is not abusive, this is not a clinical criteria or something, but it can lead to become a victim of abuse because maybe the empath is not self-assertive enough. Maybe, it means they create a bond immediately. And if there is predatory parasites, troublemakers, scanning the environment, they will see there is a person that already looked at me and is responding immediately if I do anything. So to stay out of trouble, we should not be too empathetic and have our empathy too much extroverted. Otherwise, people quickly parasitize it and see that there is an entrance. On the other hand, if we have not so much empathy extroverted, if we don't scan the environment for threats, this radiates inner security. So we're not even afraid. So even if there is someone who might be a troublemaker or a parasitic predator, we don't even have to look at him, because we will have the answer. If he is trying to make a bond with us, try the first reactions, we will quickly establish boundaries they don't want to bridge. And yeah, just a thought of mine. And I also, as I said, observed healthy people, and I think the way they manifest their personality and their well-being is healthy narcissism. So they are self-absorbed to a certain degree. They are in love with themselves to a certain degree, which disconnects them from the environment, and they are not dependent on the attention seeking. This is pathological narcissism. Pathological narcissism is a term that I coined. No, a term that I have thought about is coercive attention seeking, because I think this is what covert narcissists do. They coerce others to become important by doing covert abusive actions, inserting themselves in the life of people by smearing and poisoning. So this is just observations that I made. So a healthy narcissism means the self-absorption and the self-love, liking oneself, even enjoying oneself speaking, so what? But not too much, of course. It's hard when I see people who really like to hear themselves talking, and they indulge in a filthy form of eloquency. I don't like it. I like people who are really eloquent, but I don't like people who try to be eloquent or who try to shine in some way that seems off for me. So it's hard to find the right taste, just like with the right scent, just like with perfume. If you just have a little bit too much or a little bit too much of one scent, it spoils the whole soup. But this is just taste, and taste is different and individual. Now, I also made a concept recently about, um, when you go through narcissistic psychopathic abuse, you might educate yourself about the cluster B, the dramatic personality disorders such as borderline, narcissism, antisocial, which is psychopathy, Machiavellian, and histrionic. And I realized it makes sense to educate yourself about them, but it even can help you to understand through which phases you go when you have been exposed to a narcissistic psychopathic family cult for too long or for a certain amount of time. Because the nature of this abuse will make it like, this is my model, this is what I found out, what might apply to some people as well. The first thing you realize is you want to, it's as if nothing happened. So you go out of you detach, you go no contact, and you're still the same, but the whole poison, the whole trauma is unprocessed. And then you're just confused, and you start to puzzle everything together. And then you will try to hold on to your old self, to remember it, which is good, to connect to old friends, old places where you've been, look at the old photos, try to remember your memories before the narcissistic abuse. This is your identity. And you want to hold on to this, but you will never get back your innocence, because now you have seen evil. You have seen evil, you have seen insanity, you have seen madness, you have seen sadism, you have seen sadomasochistic people who do so counterintuitive things, and it's fascinating to educate about it, but these experiences will make it hard for you to become as innocent as before and as trusting to people, because your trust and your empathy, your moral alignment, your unconditional loving way has been parasitized. So this is a little bit shocking for you, probably, and you can't go back to your naive state immediately, innocent, naive state easily. So you will grieve your old self, and something else must come because you can't be that anymore. Now, what happens is when nobody believes your story, you get these secondary gaslightings from official places. Nobody will reestablish, people will say, well, you know, that's your story, but, we can't, nobody will help you to reestablish anything or to validate your version of the story. That's the nature of the abuse. The narcissist has isolated you successfully from your support network, and then you can become like a borderliner. Your emotions get very strong. You fear that your old self is lost, because nobody is there to bring justice to this injustice and to this clearly evil things that happened. And this makes you rather like a borderliner, dysregulated emotionally, drowning in your emotions, being unable to control them. And by the way, in the pathological form of borderliners are like covert narcissists, mergers. They want to merge with the person in order to dissolve themselves. They want to regress into the womb of the mother again. So you have to fight all these tendencies, of course. Um, but I just made the observation, it looks to me that the results of the abuse, the feeling of being isolated, not validated, creates the borderline emotional dysregulation. And then you switch to be more self supplying to the narcissistic side. You become covert narcissistic because the borderliner is a merger. As I said, they want to merge with the partner. They look for, by the way, borderliners look for psychopaths as emotional rocks who can ground them and process all the emotional dysregulation for them, or yeah, regulate them. Um, and then they have only, the borderliner has only um, object constancy. This is why they want to merge. They want also the reassurance that they are really loved and they're really, really the best and really together, and you're there for me and you never leave me. So their insecure attachment style. And then when you switch to the covert narcissistic side, you create introject constancy, meaning you suck everything into your fantasy, um, meaning you're not operating with people anymore. You just interact with uh, in, internalized objects. People get objectified. You start splitting mechanism. There's all good, all bad, and you feel absolutely alone. And the people who did this are absolutely evil. And in this case, you might be right. But this is not good to have functioning reality testing, because the world is nuanced. Healthy, normal people are ambiguous. They are nuanced as well. They have a lot of light, but also a lot of darkness. And this is not good for your reality testing and for interacting with the world. Um, so then you will start to crave for validation because nobody wanted to listen to you. This is the covert narcissistic phase. Then when you get some validation, when you get back some of your grandiosity, that can also be healthy, narcissism can be healthy, you get into the narcissistic stage. And I want to accelerate this a little bit. I will drop it down in the description, the concept, the model that I created, or what I thought about. And the interesting thing is, with this model, you can understand the stages you go through as well as the abusers. But they are hardwired in this, they are stuck in this, but you might go through the same phases, part of it. It's called reactive abuse, it's called projective identification. So now the next stage will be from narcissistic, grandiose fantasy, when you get some validation, when you get some attention, you still have to rebuild your identity. You have to fight. You have to get things back, because hyenas and vultures will not voluntarily give things back that they have stolen from you. So you become a covert psychopath. Covert psychopath is the high functioning psychopath. We speak about type 1 psychopath, who is repressing anxiety. So they have this boldness and they have very high impulse control. We're not talking about the type 2 psychopath who we typically find in jail. These aggressive people is rather a high functioning covert psychopath who has failed to attain some of their goals. Therefore, they become pro-social and communal and try to look benign, try to create a social status out of their family, even though the family is a pseudo-mutual or pseudo-hostile family cult. So now you go through the phase of the covert psychopath. meaning you get emotionally detached, because this is the next stage to get your goals. You need to be goal oriented and emotionally detached from your abusers. So the ruminating from this, so the borderline state created suffering. The suffering was attached to the people who did this to you. Therefore, you become ruminating, narcissistic, hateful, negative emotions, and then you detach from all of this and you become goal oriented, unempathetic towards these people. You become covert, psychopathic, high functioning, but yeah, and trying to, just what I said. And the interesting part is that when you become emotionally detached from these people, you must be careful, because it can help you in life, because you might have before been an empath that was too empathetic to everybody, and you might use this detachment also to bring it to other people. But all these tendencies are extremes and we have to fight them. It's just we go through it, we feel it, and therefore we understand our abusers better, but we have to fight this. We will get to this later. Now, the next stage obviously is the overt psychopathic phase, when you get your goals, when you fight back your territories, when you make things clear, you achieve goals, therefore you become overtly psychopathic. You exercise your power and your influence overtly. You show your power overtly. You simply be what an overt, high functioning type 1 psychopath would be, but of course just in tendencies. And then the next phase is that all of this is not the right thing. This is not living the way we should live. The psychopath is dead and inside. They only fake emotions. They fake emotions and hide behind hedonism, hedonistic philosophy, the life of the pursuit of joy, but in a hedonistic way. And again, they fake emotions to make others respond to their emotions, and then they feel something like it, like a substitute for real emotions. So fake it till you never make it, kind of thing. And this is not what we want to be. So the last phase, it's phase number 7. We need to extract the healthy parts of narcissism, the healthy parts of psychopathy, meaning self-assertiveness, a little bit of self-absorption, a little bit of self-love, a little bit of goal orientation, and a little bit of emotional detachment if necessary. But the most important thing is who we were before the abuse, which is our identity core, our moral core, our just our human way, um, to integrate all of this together as a new personality. We can't go back to our old self. In the beginning, we grieved it. We have to let it go. We might think of it at times how naive we were, how innocent we were, but we have learned something and we have integrated this stuff. Yeah, thank you for listening. As I said, I've broken cycles today. I'm still fasted. I think it's about 4 o'clock now, so I need to start to eat something. And see you in the next video.